Same thing or no?
Uh, 5:31, April 16. I'll call the meeting to order. We do have a quorum. Let's see. Ella, you want to lead us in the pledge?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First order of business, we have approval of the Board of Ed minutes, March 12. Do I have a motion?
I make a motion to approve the minutes for March 12th.
Second?
I'll second.
Okay, John seconds. Any discussion? Changes? Hearing none. Let's go to the ones on the phone. Carlene? This is a motion to approve the minutes?
Yes.
Okay. Chris Milton?
Yes.
Okay. Everyone in the room, just raise your hand, signify.
Aye.
Okay, it is unanimous. Okay, the second one would be approval of the minutes of the board special meeting on March 26th. Could I have a motion to approve, please?
I'll make that motion.
Okay, and Greg seconds. Any discussion, changes? All right. Again, we'll do it on the phone call first. Carlene? Do you approve the motion for the special minutes?
Yes for me.
Okay, Chris Milton?
Yes.
Okay. Everyone in the room?
Aye.
Aye, it is unanimous. Okay, very good. Next order of business are the recognition awards. Superintendent, we'll start.
All right, thanks everyone. All right, so we have the 3 awards, the You Inspire Me Award, the Key is Me, and I Make a Difference. So when I call you up, come on up over here, and then we'll have a short break afterwards for 5 minutes just to take pictures outside there. So Regina Stiles, is she here? Oh, Regina is here, that is. So, I Make a Difference, Regina Stiles, school nurse at Moriarty. Regina is an extraordinary person. She is the pillar of positivity and kindness, no matter how many times a student visits her office, sometimes even 5 or 6 times a day.
Yeah.
She smiles and greets them with warmth and compassion. This first month of school proved to be very challenging in the nurse's office. Amongst the regular beginning of the year challenges, Regina took on almost 100 more students in her office. Regina's focus and calmness during emergency situations make staff and students feel safe. Regina is so valuable to our school community, and she needs to know how much she is valued and respected. She was nominated by Assistant Principal Beth Hanlon. Please keep you busy. Jana Debney, stand sharp. He is me, Jana Debney. She was nominated by Carolina M.K. Mrs. Debney welcomes all students with a smile and open arms into her 2nd grade classroom. She is the 2nd grade teacher at Stanton. Children feel accepted, loved, and supported in her classroom. Her loving personality is one way that she forms strong relationships with her students. So congratulations, Jana. finally, the most important one. You inspired me, student award, Melda Mahone, Kelly grade 7. Joseph was my now. Melda is an amazing student and human being. She always has a smile on her face. She encourages others when they're struggling and assists students and teachers when needed. This year, she did something very brave. She auditioned and performed in the Eastern Regional Middle School Music Festival. This is the very first time that we had a 7th grader attend the music festival, and I am incredibly proud of her hard work and bravery. I cannot wait to see what the future holds for her because I know whatever she does, she will excel at it. She was nominated by Mrs. Beat, the music teacher, and Mrs. Beat says her positive attitude and outlook truly inspire me to be a better teacher. And she was all right, we're gonna take a break and we'll take pictures of it.
The director is going to give a little overview of what's happening in athletics for the district.
Good, yeah, good evening. I'm excited to be here tonight to talk about sports, and I may talk too long, so you can shut me off at any point, because what we're doing in Norwich Public Schools, particularly I just thinking about the students in the music program. Recently, I think it's 3 years ago, we reintroduced music, if I'm correct, and also sports. I think that's probably one of the greatest decisions you made, and just the impact I see. Not that I'm not supposed to talk about music, but the impact I see with the kids around the building, but the music program and the arts program in sports is just, it creates a whole new culture, and it gives the kids a great chance to do some great things. And I want to congratulate Mel. She's not only her musician, she's a great cheerleader. So that was not mentioned, so I just want to applaud her. One thing, just really quick on this, discuss. I know that I got some correspondence and some questions from the board regarding our athletes and participation and rules and guidelines as who can participate and who can't. And it's to cut to the chase and not to belabor the point, it's regards to athletics and participation at Norwich Public Schools, all the public schools in Connecticut, we have to abide by state and federal laws. And so I know your policy 5120 with Goodman and Shipman delivered to you is the same guidelines that the CIAC and the sports programs throughout the state of Connecticut adhere to. So I know people want to talk about it, debate it, but in my position, my job as athletic director is follow state guidelines and stay within it, not to give my opinion or where I stand. And so, I mean, that's the bottom line. I think at some subsequent date in the future that may be revisited, but as it stands now, it's non-negotiable, not even an issue. And I had some inquiries from parents last year, not many, and I said, this is the policy, this is the guidelines, and my job is make sure we stick with it and be inclusive. So we want kids involved. And so that's the bottom line. I think probably at some point you may visit it. I know at the CIC, which I'm part of, this is a discussion, but it's a short discussion, and usually it's finalized. He said, we'll address this at a different time if it's addressed at the federal level. So as it is, it's the law, it's the policy, and that's what we go along with. So I have no personal preference on it. I'm just glad to get kids involved. Okay.
Yeah, I just want to give a slight update. I believe the feds, the Title IX people have already drafted regulations for transgender participation in sports, all the way from elementary through college level.
Right.
And they're holding off on releasing that till after the November.
Right.
Election. So we'll have new regulations, guidelines coming down from the federal government, probably late winter, early spring of next year.
At our last statewide AD meeting in November, that was a topic of discussion, and that was our final resolution. We'll wait till the election and see what the next steps are. So it's as of now, it's the rules, the law, and it could be revisited. But I don't have any. Some people ask, Lou, what's your personal opinion? I don't have a personal opinion. I just go by the law. Okay. So I just want to talk about that. But next thing is I want to talk about athletics and how excited, not just me, but the kids. If you had a chance to get here a little earlier today, we have 130 kids signed up for track. It's a lot of kids. We won't stick with 130, but we got that much interest, and so it just don't mind if I digress. It just, you see kids out there who are on the track team and the sports program. I did a little research today, not a lot, and approximately 40% of middle school kids play sports, right? And as they go up, as they get to high school level, that number goes down and down and down and down. And so I'm thinking some of the kids today I watched out there on track who never thought they'd be on a track to even participate in track, and knowing that probably this is the only time in their life they'll be on a sports team. It's like, and so as you know, when you get a little older like myself, 20, 30 years from now, when somebody asks you, how'd you do in track, John? I was in the Olympics. Nobody's going to check. And so just building kids' self-esteem is just great. So I just happened to see it today. I go, wow. But so far as sports, we started 3 years ago to institute sports. prior to that, Norwich had a pretty successful and pretty well thought out sports program, and it just went away. So we didn't have to reinvent the wheel, but we had to kind of rediscover it. So what we started off with 3 years ago, I surveyed the area, looked at, what sports are offered and what other middle schools are doing. We did not want to be the second class school system. So my goal and our goal was like this, let's not lower the bar, but at least be comparable with other school districts. So we started off with soccer and cross country, which most of the schools have in this area. But for the board's information, believe it or not, some of the more well-to-do, fluent towns don't have both sports. They may have soccer, may have cross country, and how they justify it, which makes sense. If you're in a town X and there's many soccer programs, for example, you don't really need to have soccer programs at the middle school because there's no need. So you look at it and go, how could you not have a soccer program? We don't need it. So Norwich, we don't have that luxury. So we start with soccer and cross country first year, and then we went to the winter season. We started with a basketball program, which everybody has. And also we started cheerleading, which is one of our most popular sports. And then into the spring, we went to the track program. That was our baseline for starting sports. And it was based on interests, facilities, and staffing, which is a major issue, which I'll talk about later. And so as far as who we compete against and who we work with, we're in a unique situation in sports in Norwich. We have approximately 450 to 500 kids at each school. So in the surrounding towns who we compete against or could compete against, we're too big for Basel and Sprague and Lisbon because they have 200 kids, but we're not. We're comparable to the Waterfords and East Limes and Grottons, but the difference is they have so many feeder programs, so many kids playing sports that the talent level is not. It's not the same. It's not that our kids can't aspire to that level, but if you play Waterford, for example, most of their kids are playing AU, travel basketball, travel soccer, where our kids it comes down to resources and they don't have that luxury. So it's kind of, we compete against them, but we really can't. If we compete against a player Preston, they say to us, because there's a small league for sports in this area, Preston, Sprague, Salem, they have their own league. So 250 kids average. So they don't want to compete against us. They go, we can't compete against Norwich. You got 500 kids. So they don't really want to. We're in a situation, we compete in a league. It's called the Eastern Connecticut Middle School League. So we're against Waterford, Groton, East Lyme, Stonington, London. So we're in that league. So our problem is we compete. Let's put that, we compete, but we're not that level yet. We're just not. And so one of the things we have to do is that anytime we play against another school district, and I know they have that level, that it's much more competitive, much more skilled. I always have conversations with the athletic director and the coaches, and I tell them, I'm not whining. I don't mind you win and you lose, but don't embarrass our kids and don't injure our kids. So it's a constant. I feel sometimes like now they know when I call, they know what I'm calling about. And I say, this is middle school sports. You don't need to beat us. And by the way, we still get beat by 30, 40 points, but there's no need for that. It's the middle school level. So we're in that area. But as far as the sports, then as the next couple of years, we started to add more sports. So big interest in volleyball. And I said, well, we got the cheerleading. Now I need something between the winter season and the spring. I said, let's start a volleyball program. So we started our girls volleyball program, which is a great program. Kids love volleyball, by the way. And then this year we added boys volleyball. So I think right now we're kind of maxed out as offering for sports for our kids. We can only be so much and do so many things. And we get people that want to start a cross program. They want to start fencing teams. They want to start flag football. So we start another program. We're going to take kids away from our present program, which we can't do. So that's where we are as far as the sports teams. When you go through this, it'll show you the numbers. Our numbers every year have gotten bigger. And the only thing that holds us back on some of our sports really is one of the main things is coaches. I mean, I was talking to my coaches today. We have staffing problems in the district. It's just like every other district. We're not unusual, but the problem is I have right now 2 coaches who've been coaching for 3 years. other than that, it's been like a revolving door. So every year I'm re-looking for coaches. And one of the ways you field the team and encourage students to participate, is just knowing the coach and having them in the hallways, go out for the team. And we don't have that. So, but our numbers have been steady, but it's not to the level we would like. So that's one thing when you look at the chart. The other thing that holds us back somewhat is some of our kids get over involved, and their parents say enough is enough. I've had kids who play 3 or 4 sports, and their parents say, we can only do so much. And a lot of our students, it's good that they're involved, but there's pressure and there's complications. There's a lot of things parents have to do if you're a working parent. One of the things that Norwich has that other districts don't have, the problem, our kids are heavily dependent on buses. Even in London where I used to work, there's a lot of neighborhood schools, so kids could get to practice. Here, you'll see the buses out there any afternoon. We bus 90% of our kids. So when our constraint is after school, they have to get out of school, we have to feed them, and we have to get them on the bus by 4:45. So that leaves us probably on a good day, maybe an hour and 15 minutes to practice. So busing is a major issue with our kids' participation. And I feel bad for some of the parents, because when we have a game, if you can't pick the student up, you can't participate because there's no buses home. So that's one of the things that holds up. But the numbers, when you look at them, the numbers are steady, the participation rate. The one thing that excites me is the kids they're buying into being an athlete. The first year, I got to be honest with, our first year, and that was post-COVID, we were like the best daycare center in the world. Parents would say, "Oh, Mr. Allen, I want my kids to go out for volleyball or basketball." And I said, "That's great. You're interested?" "No, we just want to get them out of the house." That's what, get them away from the house and get them away from this. And so the first year, a lot of kids came with that mentality. The good thing is there's kids who never, ever thought they're going to play a sport, and they'd come out to practice and tryouts and like fight with us. "I'm not here. I don't want to be here. My parents told me to be here." And I said, "Just run the lap, But what happened after a while, they'd run a lap around that track, and all of a sudden they said, "We can do it." And then it got a little better and a little better. Nothing better than seeing a kid. We talk about PRs, personal records, like get better. So when I spoke to the kids yesterday in track, I said, you may or may not be Olympic, but if it takes you 2 days to run a mile, and you can do it in a day, at the end of the year, you've done something. So a lot of our kids now, they know when we talk about sports, just get better. Just get better. And so what happens, and then sometimes you get emotional talking about it. When you get to the end of your event and you get kids who never thought they could do it, and say, "Mr. Allen, I can't believe I've done this." The kid like who never thought they would do it. And like they're like, the parents are happy, everybody's, and that's what it's about. Just get a little bit better. So we're lucky. So the kids are buying into that. So that's why we had so many kids out for a track. I mean, they're driving me nuts. I'm gonna go out for a track. One of our problems is it's the signing up process. Like, so we do it through a system called Arbor. It's all online, but I should talk. I'm terrible at computers. It's hard to navigate. It really is. So we tell the parents, register, and if you have trouble, come see us and we'll help you. And we have deadlines, but it's kind of like a floating deadline. You get different language, different app, but we make it work. We make it work with the numbers. So that's where we are with like the numbers and the sports we got. The only thing and I got some other stuff to talk. The only thing we've done different this year, and I'm glad the music people there. Our cheerleaders perform at halftime in the schools, both the middle school. They have step teams. It's so good, so good. It's part of the after-school program. But I corralled them last year. I said, "Why don't you perform at halftime of our basketball games?" If you go to a middle school basketball game, we have the basketball team playing. We have the cheerleaders cheering. Our cheerleaders, by the way, are off the charts. Where's she at? Mel here? Where you at, Mel? She gone? Well, she's good. But I'm saying, so if you go to a basketball game, you got the cheerleaders cheering, and then you have the step teams performing. That is art and culture in itself. So next year, crazy as it may seem, we're going to work to have a step team act and compete. And if you see them at the game, what they do, what they perform, what their message is, it's cool. And this year we also added, the music lady, I call her Beats back there. We also have at Kelly the pep band plays. So if you go to a basketball game at Kelly, we have and we're working on it at teachers. We have everything except the pep band. We have it. Our game is an event. The halftime is a show. with the band playing, the cheerleaders cheering, the step team, it's pretty cool. And by the way, we do a great basketball team too. We work hard. So, and one of the reasons we went there, I mean, the halftime, it gives a different group of kids a chance to perform and show their talents. We have our band concerts and then we know that, but this is just another venue, and just see the kids out there performing. And, of course, my ego is like, no other school does this. So fans from all over are saying, wow, these kids are out there cheering. We got the music playing, kids dancing. It's events. I think kids need a way to show their talents in the different venues. It's not just about sports. So that's that part. Moving right along. We also, the board was great with some of the COVID money. We put fitness rooms. We have fitness rooms in both schools. So some of the students who were going to be on one of the teams opted to be on working in the fitness room. So we try to give them more venues. So that's the first couple slides. Sports, what we're offering, where we're going. Highlights. So the highlights, just the growing number of kids, the buy-in from kids, the excitement from kids. John's a coach and probably other coaches. Kids love it. It may not be a big deal to some people in Rome, but I get off on it. I get excited. They call me coach. These are the kids who never played a sport. They can tell them when they're walking down the halls, and that's that kid who hasn't established his or herself in the school, and they hang their hat on. They go, wow, he's a coach, and I'm senior coach. That means I'm an athlete. It's like kind of like coach. It's good. So we've established that sports mentality and what's the teamwork and overcome, and you're not by yourself. And we speak about that all the time. So that commitment, the buy-in from the coaches, we do, because of security purposes, last year we're the only school does it, but since during the day, we have to have the parents go through security, but after hours, there's nothing in place. So we have parents sign into our sporting events, the indoor ones, by the way. And the good thing about it is we know who the parents are there, but we also get a sense of the parent buy-in interest. So this year during basketball, we didn't do it in soccer. We had 1,300 people sign in. That's a lot of people. A lot of people show up for our events. And we talk about parent engagement. And I speak to the people that do the attendance and the parent engagement. I said, that is one of the best vehicles, because every time, the people at the door, when you come in to sign it, the parents always want to talk about something and watch their kids while they go to the bathroom. And it's one of our best kept secrets. So we want to keep that going and make sure that grows, because it's not just conversations about sports, it's just other stuff they want to bring up. And the other factor with parent engagement, it's when we dismiss the kids get on the bus out in the back here, but also the kids who are parent pickup, we greet the parents out front there. So we know it's like we always have these conversations with parents. And I talk to the parent, the teacher, or the people in charge of parent engagement. We need to kind of like work together and collaborate on that, just reaching out to parents, and that's just a great venue. Then the collaboration, the Norwich Free Academy and the Norwich Rec and Isaac School, the integrated day scheme, have been great to us. When we first started the program, the rec department sat down with us, and I meet with them on a regular basis. We said, what do you offer? And here's what we're offering. What they've been able to do is supplement programs that we don't have in place. For example, basketball, of all the sports, that's the only sport we really have to cut athletes, because you only can have a finite number of people on a basketball court. So we work through the rec department. So when students, at the end of basketball, we have to cut athletes, here's another option for you to get better in basketball. You could work to the rec. So they've been great. NFA, their athletic director, all their coaches come up here. The volleyball team coaches up there, the track coaches, the basketball coaches, and offer our kids free clinics and work with our kids. And so one thing I've noticed this year, when they come to do their clinics, they bring our former athletes up there. So we're kind of building this tradition, and it's one hand washes the other. We get free coaching, free consultation, and they get access to our students to increase their enrollment. So it's a good thing. So great partners there. The things that we've done as far as facilities, or improvements with the COVID money 2 years ago, we redid our gymnasium teachers, and Kelly did the floors over, new backboards. We put fitness centers into both schools. So our facilities are in great shape. The only thing I'll offer to the board is that when you have not, I guess the word not serious, when you have continued discussions about the new facilities with the new elementary schools and with the middle school, you gotta factor in how the athletic program fits in. I've seen too many school districts build new buildings, and after thought, they go, boy, why'd we do that? This is our chance to create facility that helps not just the elementary schools, middle school, but it also helps the community, because through the facilities office, we get calls after calls. We want to use your gym. We want to use your fields. We want to use this, but we don't have the capacity to do that. Nor are they in the condition to do that. So when you start building in the next couple of years, you're going to start thinking about holistically, like what can you do for the district and for the town? And so that we may have gyms that are adequate. For example, teachers' gym only seats 180 people. By the time we bring in the cheerleaders, the step team, the athletes, and the staff, there's no room. There is no room left. It's sad. We have to turn people away because there's no room in the place. And so that's not fair. Kelly, we have a much better situation.
Have our the companies that we hired, I'm on the school board. Have they reached out to you yet?
No.
They're supposed to be.
Yeah, I went to one meeting last year, and I was pleading my case, because I've seen,
I'll remote.
yeah.
Actually, we had a meeting at the same time.
Yeah.
Mark and I couldn't attend, but I'll
Yeah,
definitely
yeah.
reach out to the
Yeah.
contractors. Again.
And I'm gonna keep crying the blues about that, because you know,
No, I understand.
I mean, the other thing is, my understanding is some of the facilities we let people use, we rent out. We get income from that, you know, and if you know anything about the sports, facilities are like a premium. I mean, I'm gonna push for a all-purpose field, because it'll be used day and night, because we're at the mercy of the weather. Rains, it gets muddy, we can't even use our fields. And that's, right now, it's our biggest obstacle with having, other than getting coaches, our other thing that I know, I'm get done in 2 minutes. You said all the time I wanted. Our bigger obstacle part is getting kids. I could take 100 more kids. Just give me more coaches and more places to put them. I just got no place to put them. But I think so, that larger picture as far as facilities. What else I got here? At the elementary level, we're trying to jumpstart getting more kids involved with that. This probably has been our best season. We got probably 6 schools are running programs. Girls on the Run is a fitness run program through the Hartford Marathon group. So we're going to get more kids at the elementary level getting involved. I mean, that's our key to, as far as grooming and creating more athletes, just get the elementaries involved. So we're working on that. We've gotten, thanks to the last contract that the board approved with the teachers, our stipends went up. So our coaches' stipends are competitive with anybody. So, though having that said, it's still hard to get coaches. And a lot of it's, like I said, I think I opened up, just turnover in staff. I mean, 2 coaches return in 3 years. I know I said to a couple of coaches yesterday, so I gotta reload and find new coaches for the fall. And it's just, so it's just like, and that continuity is just, it hurts us. But I talked about the collaboration with the band, pep band, and we're going to continue that. Thanks to Lisa kicking me in the rear, we got our unified sports finally off the ground. We started first year and we stumbled, so we started again this year. We were lucky. The State Department, the Unified Special Olympics, gave us 2 grants, so they gave us money to defray the cost of the program. It's the Kelly and teachers. So we got it going this year. We competed against Stonington, Waterford, and London. We went to a great state tournament in Westbrook. So cool. So cool. I mean, just the expression on the kids' face, which is positive. It's rewarding for them, but also the peers who work with the students. So this spring we'll be doing track, and I think, what's that game where you throw in the little cornhole? Yeah, like the next Olympic sport. Doing that. And so, huh? It's a game. I don't know. I didn't make it up. But anyhow, so we're just excited about getting that program going. And then, the people who are involved with all the schools, just everybody wants to help each other. It's one of them sports. Everybody wants to help each other. The parents don't complain. The coaches don't complain. The athletes don't complain. The officials don't complain. I actually like being there. So it's good. So we're continuing with that. I show the membership of the schools we're in. You can look at it yourself. We pride ourselves on being second to no one. Back page here, future. Teachers school that needs help. I mean, everybody says, and we're trying to do things to remediate it as much as we can, because everybody says, well, Lou, we're gonna get it done in 5 years. When somebody says, well, get it done in 5 years, which is great, that's the logical timeline. But I said, that's like 2 or 3 classes getting something they can't get. So we kind of, any way we can make it special for the kids, we try to do that, because it's 5 years is another class going. Continue to grow the unified sports. We want to keep doing that. I mentioned also I work with the building committee. One thing we got to do is fine tune our operations and systems and get a little more organized. And so we're a little more efficient in what we do. We kind of grabbed everything quick, and now it's time to kind of use the term, let the new grow old. Don't start grabbing more stuff till we fine tune what we got. Reevaluate our academic expectations with our athletes, kind of coordinate that with the staff. We did work, there's pockets of the community service with some of our clubs and teams, trying to make sure that's a part of our regular expectation for our student athletes. And also work on a mentoring program, which we've been trying to get off the ground. So never like ambitious things, but that's the things we want to do in the next couple of years. And then just like I said earlier, just retention and recruitment of coaches, and that's what we need. So that's what I got. But I'm telling you, it's come to a track meet, you'll say, wow, it's pretty cool. We'll always take helpers, timers and this and that. I think that's it. Any questions? We're good. We're in good shape. We're in good shape.
Intramurals?
Yeah.
Is that something that's involved with your programs?
Yes, at the elementary level. Yeah.
The elementary?
Yeah. Now in the school, that's a good question. There's a lot of schools that have intramural programs other than sports. So the after school program has a variety of programs. Sometimes they do sport. The problem is with our intramural program, say intramural basketball, which is a perfect example. I probably can get 30 kids who want to do it. I tried it on a Saturday one year. It didn't go over well. But during the school year, it's hard to do intramurals basketball during the basketball season, because we're in the gym during the basketball. It's like no place to put them, you know what I mean? And we have, by the way, when you do basketball, we we have the girls and boys, and so it's kind of like we have to share the gym. So it would take off, John. It would be, kids want to do it. Kids want to do it. So how that manifests itself it's tough to figure out.
And Lou, do you interact or with the rec system?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. I meet with Bob all the time. We meet regularly, because one of the things we don't want to do is overlap as to what type of we're doing. It's the same program, and but the problem is it's a good problem. NFA offers programs, and the rec offers a basketball program, and we're offering a basketball program. And then we're looking around each other. I only had 5 kids show up, so it's kind of like fine tuning that. So we meet. He gives me his program, what he offers, and I circulate that, and then I tell him what we're trying to do. We kind of try to make things work together. They're good partners. They're good partners. Yes. So the answer is yes. Going once, going twice. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Thank you. Yep. Come to a game. I'll give you a free ticket. The only thing on a basketball game, Nell's not, she left. Our cheerleader, we try to make our games look like the college game where they throw the shirts into the crowd. We're so pathetic. I give them 6 shirts to throw, and they walk up to like one person. Like, they're so scared. They go, and I got to go out and train them. I said, guys, they're like, there's a whole gym. Throw one there, one there, one there.
You gotta buy you a couple of t-shirt cannons.
I was thinking that, but that's probably, that'd be considered a weapon, so we can't do that.
Yeah, we can get the foundation.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, next order of business is public comment. I know most of you are here for probably to talk about the music program. I know I got a couple of letters and everything, and it was kind of a shock to me that we're eliminating music. It's nothing that we discussed. It's nothing that the administration discussed. As far as I know, the people in charge of the budget. So this is the problem with getting our news from social media. I'm probably one of the biggest supporters of arts and music going in the school system. And this just shocks me that this has come up. I'm grateful that everybody is here. They went through the expense of getting these yellow stickers, and it's great that you're all supporting music, the program that was eliminated during prior budget shortfalls, and we brought it back, and with the help of the Norwich Public School Foundation, got instruments to the band and started it up again, and it's been going very, very good. So we'd love to hear, about your support for it, but at the moment, we are not planning on doing anything to eliminate music, So that's where we stand. And I know people have signed up for public comment. If you wish to talk now, that's fine. If you want to withhold your comments, I know that the place to really talk about this would be at the budget public comment hearings at the city council, which will be held on May 13th at 7:30 in council chambers. They're the ones who control our purse string. The difference between what we've proposed and what the city manager proposed is about $7 million. I mean, if we eliminated music, that's not going to cover our $7 million. So at this point, anything's up for grabs. We don't know at this point what additional monies are coming in from the state. We won't know for another few weeks. The short session ends on May 8th. And by that time, we should know exactly what the state budget is, what they're going to be increases, and what the limitations are going to be on our funding. And then we'll be in negotiations with the city, but with our ad hoc budget meetings as to what's happening. But your advocacy, obviously music is something that is of concern to everyone here. We just heard from Lou, sports. I'm all for all of this. It gets the kids interested in school. Obviously the 3 R's, reading, writing, arithmetic, they're not putting kids in the seats. We have chronic absentee problems in our schools statewide, possibly from 25 to 30%, especially at the middle school level. And sports, arts, music, theater, that's what brings the kids to school and gets them interested in participating. And so I see it as a necessity, not just as something, that we add on. I think it's a vital part of education. So with that being said, we can proceed with the public comment period. I've got just a brief statement here. The Norwich Board of Ed values the public comment period as it represents an opportunity for members of the public to express their views to the board on matters within the board's authority. Procedurally, public comments will be limited to 3 minutes per person and up to 30 minutes per topic. All comments must be directed to the board and not to any individual board member or individual member of the administration. The board and the administration will not respond to questions or engage in dialogue during the public comment period. The board and the administration will determine when and how to address questions that arise during the public comment period. Comments may be submitted via email at any time. Profanity, raised voices, and personal animosity will not be tolerated. The chair reserves the right to limit public comment at any time so that the board's business may be conducted in a timely manner. Each speaker is asked to give their name and address for the record before starting their remarks. Any student that wishes to speak, you do not have to give your address for privacy concerns. If you could, give your name and which school you attend, that would be fine. All right, and then anyone who wishes to, speak for a group, because there's quite a few people who I believe have signed up for public comment, you can aggregate your thoughts and have one person speak for the group, if that's fine. Or you can just come up and say, I agree with the previous speaker and I support music, something of that nature. That's fine. Okay, and Amber, who do you have?
Lynn Bustamante.
Okay.
Hello, my name is Lynn Bustamante. I live at 15 Hammond Avenue here in Norwich. I was a former food service manager, so I'm here mostly to talk about the food service program. But as a taxpayer, I'm interested to find out how much longer is the investigation going to take for the former, superintendent that's not here right now. Just because it's just been forever and it's a lot of money going into something that, I don't think that we need to spend this long, this determining. Sorry, that's just my opinion. That's it for that. Now, as a former manager, I know a lot of people. I was here for 18 years. I know a lot of teachers, got close to a lot of families. I run into people all the time. I'm hearing complaints all the time. They seem to think that I can do something about it. And I tell them that I can't, and I tell them that they should come and they should talk. But nobody wants to because they're still afraid. Staff is afraid still of retaliation, even though things have changed. But we're hearing that the food is not good. The kids don't like the food. The kids don't like the staff because the staff isn't nice. We all knew our kids. I worked at Stanton and we had almost 400 kids in the school and I knew every kid by name. Susan would stand by my computer when I was ringing kids out so that she could learn all the students' names at the beginning of the school year. So within the first 2 weeks, I would know probably 85, 90% of the kids, and I could see them in the hall and I could call them by name and stop them from doing what they were doing and kind of shock them because, oh, how do you know me? But I see them at the local stores, I see their parents, I see staff. They're always telling me how bad it is. Why can't you come back? Why did you leave? I tell them that it just had to change. I've seen pictures of food that's being served, which is no way a reimbursable meal. And for those of you that don't know, a reimbursable meal is how the food program makes its money to be able to buy the food and everything else to keep the program going. We were self-funded, which meant that we had to follow these guidelines in order to get all of this reimbursement. From what I'm seeing, I don't know how they're making any money back on reimbursement because they are not serving reimbursable meals. We get to see the menu because the menus are posted on the website and they post all of the nutritionals. We are seeing the sodium. There is supposed to be less than, I'm not sure of the exact number, but it's 1,080 milligrams or something of sodium in a week. We are seeing entrees, one sandwich that is being probably 900 milligrams of sodium. That is one sandwich. That does not include all the other stuff that they're supposed to have on their tray to make a reimbursable meal. I don't know how it's happening. I'm not sure how the menus are being made. Alls I know is that we busted our butts. We went to classes, we learned. I can't tell you how many classes I sat in, and we cared what we were feeding these kids. We cared what it looked like. We cared that the kids liked it. We made sure we had enough of something.
Okay, yeah, you've hit your 3-minute limit.
Okay.
If you could just
Sorry.
All right.
wrap it up.
All right, that's it. The one thing is, I was here exactly a year ago at the April meeting last year, and I was begging for you guys to try and save our jobs. And obviously it didn't work because the decisions were made by others. And I said I would be back, talking and saying, I told you so. You guys have a mess and it's gonna be tough to fix it. And I hope that you do, because these kids deserve a whole lot better than they're getting.
Stacy Cottle.
Hi, Stacy Cottle, 21 Manicore Avenue. I'm here to support the music program, obviously. Got my sticker on. I have 3 kids that have all come up through the band program. And I can't imagine what their school experiences would have been without that. And I know you said that you guys are supporting that, continuing to support that. And I hope that you do. I know that there has been some talk of the music teachers getting pink slipped, and there are over 1,000 kids that have signed up for this program. I think 700 for band and 400 plus for choir, and I'd like to see it continue to grow. Because I feel it's very important. All 3 kids that I have are very involved, and it's a huge part of their life. And I'd hate to see that go away. Thank you.
Jessica Clay.
Okay. Jess Quay, 321 Old Canterbury Turnpike in Norwich. Good evening, Board of Education. I come here tonight searching for some clarity on a couple different topics. I know I won't get a conversation. It's not my first rodeo. But maybe it will at least bring some light to your private conversations. I first want to start by saying thank you to our acting superintendent. I've heard nothing but good things from staff, from parents, from people who work at Stanton. I know that you have an incredibly hard job and you are fixing a district that is exhausted, depleted, and financially tapped out. So I just want you to know this is not about you. With that being said, I've been hearing about how the music program is in jeopardy. You probably don't know this, but at the beginning of last year, after being highly disappointed with our former superintendent, I had toyed with the decision to move my children to a different district, mostly because of the lack of extracurricular activities, the lack of support, the lack of opportunities that are afforded to our children here in Norwich. We almost followed our favorite music teacher to his next destination, if that's any indication of how much of an impact music teachers can have. If we think about taking music away from our children, you're taking away a whole form of communication and expression that musicians and children desperately need. Now, see, maybe I don't have a clear picture of what the plan is, because if music isn't being taken away completely, like somebody said tonight, maybe that's something we can work with, right? But everything is very private and very hush-hush. There's never conversation about your actions and your plans. And I don't understand how parents and students can actively fight for something that they believe in when they aren't given any facts. Now, this is an update because I wrote this in the morning, but in the afternoon, now I'm aggravated. My children came home now today, 2 days in a row, after having a wonderful spring break, to tell me that their music teacher has told people he won't be returning next year. So what are parents and students to think when there are the rumors on social media that people are getting pink slips? If a music teacher's not returning next year, who's going to be the music teacher? We had teachers, and probably still do have teachers, fleeing this district. We didn't have a library teacher at our kids' school for the first 4 months of the school year. Last year, I heard we were out of math teachers at the middle school. So what happened then? Nobody learned math? But yet the teachers that have stayed here for the good of the children now are being pink slipped because music education is not important enough. Now, remember, I wrote this morning before this whole brief statement. This is something that directly affects the entire district. So if you guys are thinking about making a huge cut or changing the layout of the program, you owe it to us to present the facts and the plan before you just vote on it. These are not your children going to this school district. I get it. It all comes down to money and funding, and that's where you come into play. But what a wonderful thing it would be to have an open conversation with us and give parents a chance to speak up. I'm going to skip part of it because I know I'm running out of time probably. Let's move on to the next subject. Our former superintendent. I'll make this short and sassy. What is your decision? She has sat at home enjoying a nice long vacation, all while making money, and while Susan is fixing her mess. There's been an investigation this entire school year. Surely, just one piece of evidence should be grounds enough to know where she stands. Let the district move on to happier times with a new superintendent who cherishes the hard work that our teachers pour into our kids every day. Thank you.
Robert Alvin.
Good afternoon. My name is Bob Aldi. I live at 231 Scotland Road. Spring has sprung here in Norwich and all over the world. I'm concerned about Norwich right now because of the shortfall that the city has encumbered upon you in the amount of $7 million. The only question I have for the city council and city managers, how can you put a price on a child's education? You have to raise taxes to do so. You have to grow the grand list. That's acceptable, but you can't start cutting programs. I'm here tonight to talk about the school nurse program. And you had a school nurse here given accolades from I believe it was the Moriarty School, correct? Yeah, it was wonderful. I have 4 children. 3 of them are in elementary school. I have my middle child up at Kelly. However, I chose to put my 2 younger ones into Sacred Heart. And I'm asking for some school nurse program type of, we share a nurse with St. Patrick's. We all have, and both schools have medical needs. I'm just asking that if at all possible, take a look at and revamp the allocation of the school nurses, of the school nurse to the 2 privates, to the 2 parochial schools. And thank you.
Angelina, Bianchi.
My name is Angelina, and I'm a Norwich resident. I am a proud member of the music community here in Norwich. I have been involved in music in the Norwich Public Schools since the start of middle school. While most districts provide the opportunity for students to learn an instrument as young as 4th grade, Norwich has traditionally not offered band until middle school, putting our musicians 2 or more years behind other students. This year, for the first time in many years, the music program was fully funded and included chorus, band, theater, general music, and instrumental music, offered for 4th and 5th grade students. This is a huge step in the right direction for our schools and our community. Band offers many new experiences for all the students here in Norwich. Band is not only an extracurricular or elective class, but it's a family that is built and created, with long-lasting memories that stay with students forever. For some students, music class has become the primary thing students look forward to when coming to school, being able to escape a bit from classwork and grabbing their instrument and playing their hearts out. It creates friendships, connects people, and allows students to learn about how to be a productive member of society. Research shows that schools that offer music education have a significantly higher attendance and graduation rate than schools that don't, with 94% attendance and 90.2% graduation rate compared to 85% and 73% graduation rate. In addition, children who study a musical instrument are more likely to excel in all their studies, work better in teams, have enhanced critical thinking skills, stay in school, and pursue further education. Tonight, I beg you to support music education for all students in Norwich by reinstating the cut music positions and allowing music at all levels to continue in our students. Give the students of Norwich the same opportunities as other students in Connecticut. Support the music and allow our community to play, sing, dance, and act to continue to make Norwich proud. Music changes lives, but will you be a part of it? And I'm done. Thank you.
Samantha Shine, please. Sorry.
I'm Samantha, and I'm a Norwich resident. My journey with music began in elementary school, where I was fortunate enough to attend a school that valued musical education. Beginning with the basics, I had the opportunity to explore the world of music in depth, unaware of the profound impact it would have on my life, eventually becoming the most essential part of my life. Throughout middle and high school, music remained a cornerstone for me, nurturing my passions and shaping my character. Music, for me, transcends words, allowing for expression when words don't suffice. It instilled in me discipline, passion, and grace, serving as both a sanctuary and a channel for emotions, negative and positive. Through music, I forged some of my greatest friendships and developed essential skills like the ability to interpret nonverbal expression and connect on a deeper level. It has become the very essence of my existence, seeing me through both highs and lows in my life. I believe everyone deserves to experience the transformative moment when music resonates within them, as I did in my youth. This bond I've created with music would not have been possible without my music teachers, who ignited my passion and provided me with the foundation for a lifelong journey with music. Music is more than just notes on a page. Music unites, music heals, and music creates life. Music created my life. It has shaped my identity and continues to enrich my existence in countless ways. In return, I am here advocating for the preservation of music programs and the invaluable educators who nurture our future generations. May we ensure that the power of music remains accessible to all. I appreciate your support.
Hello, I'm Kristen, and I am a member of the Norwich Schools. I come from a family with a history of music, whether it be choir, band, or just being in music classes general. I've played clarinet, and I've played it since 6th grade, and now I'm here in my 11th year, and I still play my clarinet. I love my clarinet. If I had never even joined band in 6th grade, I would never have met how many friends I've made. I would never have even
considered band. And thanks to all that, I have the greatest family ever, the entire band. And band, it just gives you a lot of memories. It can give you friends you never even thought you would be friends with. It can give you lifelong friends even. But taking away music is like one of the absolute worst things that can happen. I mainly think that because of music can help reduce anxiety, blood pressure, and improve sleep quality, mood, mental alertness, concentration, time management, and so many more. I can't even think of them all. And starting music earlier, as say elementary, if a kid wants to go into music for their future, it is so much better to start earlier than later. If you start earlier, you can get ahead better and you can succeed better. If you start later, you might be behind a little. And having them start earlier can starting music earlier can help build their future, and it can support their future. Going into college for music, you can say, oh, I've had this much amount of experience in this instrument, and it's much better to have more experience in a certain instrument and everything than having a couple years. So cutting the music program could end people's future they don't even know of yet because they've never had music. They've never experienced it. So I really hope you guys don't cut music and you guys really help or keep it in.
Audrey Downing.
Hello. Before I start this speech, I would like to give a little background about me. My name is Audrina Downing. I'm 15 years old and I'm a sophomore at NFA. And here's how music changed my life. From a young age, I was really crazy about music. My dad was into making beats and I was an instrumental type of person. In elementary school, the only instrument I learned how to play was the recorder. We only had one quarter of the year devoted to it. Then I never saw another instrument again in person until middle school. In 6th grade, I was excited that I had the opportunity to join a band program. I had so many choices to choose from, and I had a spark for music. I asked to either play trombone or euphonium. Then I got told, no, we don't have any more, and you only have the option to play flute and clarinet. Mind you, we only had 2 euphoniums, no tubas, no trombones. And then I went through 3 years of playing an instrument I didn't love or had passion for because of the fact that we were severely underfunded. It hit the summer before 9th grade year, and I decided that I wanted to quit band entirely. I lost my spark and passion because what I thought was the fact that I wasn't good enough or that I never got extra help was actually the fact that I didn't have an opportunity to pick the instrument I wanted to play, and the fact that I didn't have an opportunity to get extra help because at that time there was no lesson program for after school help available or being funded at that time. One random day, I decided to walk into the band room at my school with my sister because she had to get something. Then my very convincing band director convinced me to join the concert band there. I finally had the opportunity to play the instrument I wanted to play instead of feeling like I had no support. I was always supported, and instead of feeling helpless, I got the opportunity to have lessons and be that extra help for the middle schoolers here. Instead of dreading coming to school each day, I wake up happy knowing that I'm able to be around such a beautiful community that supports each other and helps each other get better. If I'm being honest, band has completely changed my life, and I hope that young children have the opportunity to be a part of something so uplifting. And I hope that young children have the opportunity to play instruments, whether their financial situation is good or bad. And finally, I hope that young children have that one band director that makes them happy to show up to school and band. Please continue to support music for all children of Norwich by fully funding all music classes at all of the schools and reinstating all music positions. With your support, over 700 students would be able to play in band, not only this year, but for many years to come. Thank you.
Hi, my name's Drea, and I'm a Norwich resident. Band has been a very important part of many lives, including mine. Joining my band was one of the biggest parts of my life. Joining the band opened me up to a whole new experience. Band is so important to so many people, especially us, the students. Introducing students to band at a young age in elementary and middle school better equips them for their musical journey ahead. All the students love to be in band so much that band is their only motivation to even show up to school. In the band room, students have a safe way to express themselves, explore creativity, teamwork, and a lifelong passion for music. In band, there are opportunities for us to learn how to collaborate, communicate, and create lifelong friendships. Band programs become integral components of our social experience, but band isn't just band. It's more than that. We explore leadership opportunities, problem solving and adaptability, performance skills, discipline, and responsibility. But it's not only for us, but for the teachers as well. Band directors aren't just here to teach us how to play and understand music. Band directors play a crucial role in shaping not only musicians, but well-rounded individuals who are prepared to succeed on and off stage. Many students develop a lifelong appreciation for music as a result of their experience in band programs. Band directors leave a long-lasting legacy by inspiring future generations of musicians. Supporting band groups and having band directors who are more than qualified to teach us is a big investment in the future of education and the arts by caring for young talent and the love of music. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Josh Kalinowski. I'm a math teacher in the district, and I also am a resident of Norwich, 45 Coy Street. So being a math teacher, this is going to center around the cuts in the math program, but it's also in the ELA program as well, with the specialists in math and reading. But I'm just going to speak to math, circling around a conversation that I had with a colleague of mine, and some articles that we read. So for 19 math specialists in the district to start with, to go down to 9 specialists, 7 elementary who will also be doing reading, and 2 in the middle school. The question that was posed between the two of us talking was, why eliminate certified teachers in math when there's such a student need for support with fidelity and equity? And then the second point, non-certified teachers and subs are increased in a budget proposal. An increase of $1.5 million, which is a 200% increase from last year. So the question is, why propose such a large increase when we already have such a large deficit? In an article in the Connecticut Examiner on 10/2/23 titled "Connecticut Aims to Rethink Math Instruction with Equity and Technology in Mind," The article is quoted here. I don't think it would be controversial to say engagement is a huge issue in middle and high school right now. So we need to make changes to either the ways we're instructing or the way we're offering in order to engage students. And that has to do with looking at what are their needs, where are they coming from, and where are they going. In the past, there were a lot of dead-end classes available to kids done through remediation, says Christine Mendency, president of the Connecticut Council of Leaders of Mathematics. And so we're learning how to better meet the needs of students and still provide a solid mathematics education. Staples said remedial courses are more likely to be taught by less qualified teachers and substitute teachers, where the budget proposes there be an increase. So the question would be, why would we go back to non-certified teachers when it's been proven that that's unsuccessful? To use something that was alluded to earlier, reinventing the wheel, this is a case of not reinventing the wheel. This is throwing away the wheel and going back to the square, knowing that it didn't work. Last year, about a third of 11th graders who took the SAT in Connecticut met the minimum state, only a third of the 11th graders met the state minimum for the standards in mathematics. Of these, 50% of the students who met the standards were white, 10% were Black students, 13% Hispanic students that met the state standard. Jennifer Mikulek, a math consultant for the State Department of Education and an author of the equity statement, told Connecticut Examiner in an interview that one area of mathematics in state that was neglected is teaching of data analysis, including statistics and probability. In a data-determined society, I would say that would probably be one area that we need the most. And 6th and 7th grade math is where statistics and probability are taught. I'm a 7th grade math teacher. That's the unit we're in now. To strip the extra that these students get is a disservice to our students. And if equity is what we're crying from the rooftops, from district to district and from state to state across the country, then how is it equitable for there to be math specialists in one of the middle schools in our district and there not to be in the other? If I was a parent of the school that is not going to get math specialist support from certified teachers, I would be outraged. And I would just ask that you would consider that as you move forward in your voting. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. Mark Cook, 62 Gulliver Circle, Norwich. As you all know, Norwich Public Schools has a history of providing a full and robust education to Norwich residents, and that includes a history of providing instrumental and choral music education. Not too long ago, even strings were part of the Norwich Public Schools curriculum. But we also have a history of cutting music education from the curriculum and removing opportunities from our current day Norwich kids that you and I enjoyed. I am aware of at least 2 instances where music was cut from Norwich Public Schools in the early 2000s and again in 2011. And as I understand it, the proposal is to cut some of the elementary music teacher positions. But we cannot go backwards. Cutting any music positions, either in the elementary or the middle schools, will only allow for basic general music education to take place, most likely in the elementary schools. But as you know, it's only a robust instrumental and choral music education that provide great incentive for students to not only consistently attend school, but to thrive in school. And as Athletic Director Allen referenced earlier tonight, music creates a positive and inspiring culture in schools, which leads to improved behavior. So why would we want to take that away from our elementary students? And as we also know, music education directly correlates to improved standardized test scores. And so again, I ask, why would we take away all those benefits from our elementary students? Public school districts all across the state offer instrumental music starting in grade 4. We should not, we cannot treat our elementary students any differently. So today I ask you to support music education in every Norwich public school, especially the elementary schools, not only because it directly correlates to improved test scores and improved attendance and behavior, but because it provides that full and robust education that each Norwich Public Schools student is owed. If we remove those positions from the elementary schools, we can't provide that instrumental and choral education, and we'd have to resort to a bad compromise of general music, which doesn't gain us any of those benefits. Thank you for your consideration.
Is there anyone else who wishes to speak for public comment? Is there anyone else who wishes to speak for public comment? And finally, is there anyone else who wishes to speak for public comment? And now declare public comment closed. Okay, proceeding, a report of the chair. Well, happy spring, everyone. The flowers are in bloom. It's hit, I believe, 75 yesterday. Absolutely gorgeous day. We have several events coming up. Actually, today's National Orchid Day. And there are between 20 and 26,000 different species of orchid throughout the world. So enjoy orchid. Today's birthdays, Wilbur Wright, Charlie Chaplin, and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, who people of my age and older knew him as Lou Alcindor. He's 77 today. We have a couple of events coming up on April 25th, Thursday evening. An Autism and Wellness Fair will be held at Huntington Elementary School from 5 to 7. The City Council, the second budget public comment period will be held on Monday, the 13th of May at 7:30. That's at Council Chambers at City Hall. And the big event here will be on Wednesday, May 15th, the Norwich Public School Art Show, which is very well attended. People are generally out the door waiting to see all the wonderful artwork that our very talented students happen to do. And I can't, I'm a full supporter of music programs. As a matter of fact, before I came here, I was watching a reaction video from this guy on a YouTube channel, and he had never heard of Linda Ronstadt. He's playing a video by her. He's 40 years old, never heard of her. he never heard of Roy Clark, one of the greatest guitarists ever, and he was just blown away. So to live in a world without music would be very sad indeed. I can't imagine anyone not hearing Claire de Lune or Mozart or Chubby Checker. We would be a much poorer world without music. And that is my comments for tonight. So we'll go on to a brief report by Acting Superintendent Susan Lassard. She's going to give a brief overview of the budget process and how we're trying to deal with the anticipated budget shortfall, how we got here. Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to, first of all, I'd like to, I really appreciate everyone's comments tonight that came out to support something that you're so passionate about. So that was great to see. I appreciate that. On April 2nd, is Matt here to turn on the screen, Matt?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's up. Oh, it's up. Okay, thanks, Matt. So this is the initial budget proposal that I presented to the Norwich City Council on April 2nd. Many Board of Ed members were there for this presentation, so appreciate that. Just very quickly, the budget process. We had some dates that we met on Zoom, February 1st. We talked about fuel, facilities, and transportation. February 8th, we talked about technology, facilities, and utilities. February 22nd, salaries, benefits, grants, and full-time employees. On March 7th, we had the subcommittee of outside services, purchase services, all supplies. And March 12th, the Board of Education approved our $100 million budget. There will be an ad hoc committee, and that's going to be the last week of April. It's between 2 and 4 meetings that we'll have. The Board of Ed and City Council members will be present for that. So just to give a little brief summary about our enrollment, Norwich Public Schools, we have 3,078 K through 8 students, 78 out of district. Out of district means places like IDCS, Isaac, New London Magnet, and other magnet schools. So we have a total of 3,156 for that. Norwich Free Academy, which our budget goes towards, is almost 1,500 students. Griswold High School has 51. The Ledger Public Schools, the BOAC is 20. So that's really a total in our budget of 4,726 students. So this was the pie chart that explains where all the different money goes from transportation, tuitions. I know Bob Serpinski said that last year the tuitions actually outdid salaries for the first time, I believe, last year and this year. That's the first time that's happened. One thing to note on here that everyone knows about, we've been talking a lot about, is the special education outplacements are just about $12 million right now. So that's for 126 students, just to give you an idea of how that works for our outplacement students. So some major considerations that we talked about when I presented this to the City Council. There's a risk item in magnet school 58% tuition cap legislation that could have a $375,000 impact. We won't know until the legislation is completed in May. Special education costs, like I just said, continue to escalate at a high rate. Our long-term goal, really it has to be a short-term goal, but long-term goal to stop the escalation, programs to bring students back and reduce external services. So when we bring back students, of course, we can control the costs. The excess cost reimbursement rate was 71.4% this year. We were promised 91%. So that's something that we've talked about a lot. And then it's scheduled, the Alliance is scheduled to increase by 3.7 million. Last year's approved budget was 3.2, and that's a difference of 501,000. So we still don't know, what that, we won't know until May. So ESSER 3 will be fully spent by the end of June. And just to put that in perspective as well, that's $4.88 million that we no longer have access to. And there were about 52 teaching positions or certified staff, different positions, certified and non-certified staff, plus the SRO program that was funded in the 23-24. So we're analyzing, we're restructuring, and then some other unknowns. Health insurance, we won't know. That will fluctuate between 10 and 14%. It's right now at 10. We're exploring some other options with the city versus self-funded. We're on a Zoom with Bob Stravinsky and our insurance to talk about that. We'll have a more exact number in May. Workman's comp, exploring other options with the city versus self-funded. And then we have the unmandated mandates such as implementation of the menstrual products legislation, which we have budget $50,000 for. So just to recap, tuitions are at 38.8%. NFA had a 3.75% increase, Griswold 3.25% increase. And again, our special education outplacements are almost at $12 million for 126 students. And of course, the excess costs, we should have received 91% and we're only receiving 71.4%. So we've done some restructuring. I will say that it's been a very sensitive process. And we have a lot to cut. So we try to be equitable about how we cut. Instructional coaches, EL, math, and SEL, currently 15. You can see, I won't read every one, but just some of the that people spoke to. Vacancies proposed 11, so there's a difference of 4. The reading and math specialists, we have 35. Again, please know that all of these positions, most of them were from ESSER funds. That's how we were able to fund these positions. So now there'll be 11 for 24-25, so it's a difference of 24. We did not touch the MLL coaches or multilingual coaches. We didn't touch any MLL teachers. Special education teachers, none. So music teachers, we are down 3. 2 of them will be from the middle school, so we're not cutting band. Instruments are still intact. Library, 1. PE, 3. Art, 1. And I just want to, talk a little bit, and Jamie, you can talk whenever you want. There is an inequity amongst our UAs. So for just give you an example, we have one art teacher that teaches 30 classes between 2 schools, and another art teacher that's alone in one school that teaches 18. So some of these cuts are going to fix those numbers. So it's a big difference in balance there. Counselors and social workers, we know how, I want to say every job that we have, every position that was being filled is important to all of us. We wish we could keep every position. But I just want to remind everyone that we're in a $7 million difference right now, just about $7 million, where we asked for 11.9%. It's a lot of money. I know that everyone saw the boards, like $100 million is a lot. And right now it's the city council or the John Solomon, our city manager, has said 4.25%. So you can see that's a big difference. Everything's up there now. In administrative positions, we cut 8 administrative positions. So we're trying to, really look to see what's absolutely needed. And we still have ways to go, and we'll be talking more about it at the ad hoc meeting. All the board members have a copy of this presentation to include the differences for the proposed cuts. I want to talk a little bit about the process for non-renewals, just so everyone knows.
Can I, before you go, with those proposed cuts, do you have a total estimated
You have an estimate, how much? We've saved, so between all the cuts right now, we've saved about $5 million, but I want to remind everyone that the 4.88 million is not included, that ESSER, in that $100 million. So
we're even more than what we'll be.
we sure are, we sure are. Thank you.
So most of these cuts are really reflecting the fact that we're losing the ESSER, and this is to cover the loss of the ESSER funds.
Thank you.
So we're barely touching the $100 million budget on the city side.
So just to go over the process of the non-renewals, first thing we do is we determine the 24-25 staffing through strategic and deliberate restructuring. We thought we put a lot of thought around, we got some input from the building principals. So we just put a lot of thought into that. We've been in communication with union leaders throughout the process to ensure compliance with legal and contractual obligations. Central office administrators and/or building administrators met with all certified staff to receive notification of either eliminated positions or recommendations of non-renewals. And an example I can give you of that is when we restructured the coaches and the reading and math specialist. Jamie and I met with all of them. We had our union representative, Bill Priest, here. We had the state union person, Mike Casey, here. So just in case they had any questions afterwards, and we explained everything to them. The Board of Ed votes tonight on non-renewal recommendations at this meeting. After the vote, all tenured teachers whose positions were eliminated will receive notification of their assignment for next year. We'll have that tomorrow because we have to, but make sure that all tenured positions, that those teachers get a spot. All non-tenured teachers that received a non-renewal notice will receive a letter notifying them of a Board of Ed vote due to various reasons. That will be tomorrow. The NTL 24-25 anticipated vacancy list will be posted and emailed to all NTL members tomorrow. And every Board of Ed member here has a list of the anticipated vacancies in the packet. Per contract, vacancies are posted for 7 calendar days. Our interviews will begin on April 25th, and it'll probably take at least 2 days, the 25th and 26th. We should get that done as quickly as possible. So again, I just want to say this has been a very sensitive process. I love that we have families advocating and part of the education here. I really appreciate that again. And unfortunately, there needs to be some hard decisions. We think all of our current positions are important, but the reality is that we need to restructure and make cuts to close the budget gap. The ad hoc meetings with the city council members and Board of Ed members, again, will begin the last week of this month, and we'll talk about further evaluation of the budget, and we're looking for other ways to do this that does not affect personnel as well. Amy, did you want to add anything?
She just stepped out for a moment.
Okay. Step out. Does anybody have any questions for me on that process, or?
Just a comment that we are not the only district facing these budgetary shortfalls. It's statewide. A lot of it has to do with the spiraling, really unsustainable special education costs. The state keeps adding more money, but statewide we're exceeding the anticipated outlay that the state has been giving to the districts. I don't know what they're going to come up with by the beginning of May, but something has to be done. I know Hartford alone, they've cut over 300 positions, so we're, and unless we come to some, agreement or we get, significant amounts of money, we're going to be faced with some very, very hard choices.
Okay, does anybody else have any questions for me?
I guess I'm just a little concerned about the number of difference between reading and math specialists. It just seems so much, I mean, all the other numbers are under 5 and that one
We had a lot.
is over.
We had a lot.
Yeah, but I mean, our scores aren't doing that great, so like, I don't know how cutting that many is gonna be the best for the
So-
kids.
It's, that's a great question, Heather. We don't want to cut the.
I know we don't want to, but what I'm saying is, it just feels like it's more of a disadvantage for the kids that are already struggling, who are not getting the help that they need, obviously, because our test scores are extremely low.
So we didn't really see a big bang for our buck with having them, to be quite honest with you, with our scores. We do have a restructuring where we've talked with Ashley Eichhorn, who is our curriculum coordinator. So we think we have a good plan going into the 24-25 school year with how we've restructured it. We've never had a coach. Well, we used to have a coach for every building to work side by side with the building administrator principal. And that was something that we heard loud and clear from teachers that, and from our building administrators, that they wanted that back. So that's never happened. That hasn't happened in probably 4 years. So we're now each building actually has a coach that's going, an instructional coach that will be side by side. We think that's going to make a big difference.
Okay.
So that's, but your point is, I hear you.
I mean, it's just like, all the other numbers are under 5 and that one's.
So we had a lot. We definitely had a lot of reading about.
We had short-term post-COVID funds to the tune of 17 or 18 million dollars, and a lot of that money was spent hiring these people, but it was short-term. It was 3 years. It really should have been extended out 5 to 7 to possibly 10 years, but we're not in control of that money. That was short-term money, and they figured, well, 3 years, the kids should be able to recover in those 3 years, and they just haven't. I mean, it took a whole year. We had intense behaviors in the school of just them learning to get along with one another and learning to get back in school. I mean, the first year back was absolutely horrendous.
Yeah, I'm still going through it with teenagers who really
Yeah.
suffered horribly in the middle, being in the middle school.
And this is gonna follow, the kids that were stuck in that. I mean, you figure, especially if, you were in kindergarten at the time, you didn't learn how to read, you probably are 3 years behind everybody else. I mean, we're catching up, but the kids are still gonna be, at least a year to a year and a half behind in basic math and in English skills.
I don't know, because my son, I homeschooled him the first year at kindergarten because COVID was going on. He's one of those children who was kindergarten, and I kept him home, and I struggled to teach him to read, but we succeeded in math exceptionally well. But I'll have to say, Miss Gear, his amazing first grade teacher, she rocked with him until he got it, and now my son is reading at almost a 4th grade level, and he's in 3rd grade. So it can be done. It can be done, but you have to have
And
those
actually,
people have to be able to have the time and the skills to do it.
and actually looking at our comparative scores across the state, I think Norwich is doing a little better than the state average as far as recovery. Is that true?
I don't know about
or-
recovery, I just know about overall, and the scores don't look good.
Well, the thing about test scores is interesting because everyone looks at the scores and says, my God, they're not very good. We need to take into consideration where are the students coming in and where are they starting? What progress are they making as time goes on? Not just the aggregate scores, oh my God, look how bad they are, but delve into where are they coming from?
Well, I mean,
Where are they starting?
A lot of it has to, I feel, come
Yes.
from that leave no child behind, and they just started passing kids along, and they weren't getting the full thing. I've seen it happen with many students in my daughter's graduating class that struggled because they were just getting moved along. They weren't earning the real grade to be successful in the next, especially in high school. I mean, if you're just getting it to move them along because you don't want to be mean and keep them back, or you think that's gonna affect their social development, but really it doesn't help them in the long run.
Well,
So I mean, it's a collaboration of a bunch of different things that we need to take into consideration.
right, and we all know the importance of early child education, and that's where the beginning is. And we're in a community that is in desperate need of that, as are most communities in the state. That's where it all starts, and that's where it all begins. We need to give a level playing field as much as we can to students beginning the process.
And that's what starts at home.
Right, and that's what.
Read to your babies, read to your
Exactly.
kids.
And I'm still an advocate for kids being held back. I know there's a stigma from holding them, but there's also a stigma for pushing them forward when they're not able
ready.
to stand up in their class and read a paragraph. And of course, that's a battle at a higher level. And like you said, parents, that's a huge thing. They have to be reading,
So being an old man, I give advice to young parents. There are 3 things you need to do.
Read every day.
You need to read, you need to let your child run, you need to teach them to throw so you can develop an arm, because if you don't do it young, they don't have an arm. That's just from my point of view.
So, John, Irina brought up a good point about, K-2, and with our restructuring, with our coaches and specialists, we are gonna put, more value into our K-2 classrooms.
Yeah, when their brains are still a sponge, soaking it all. The good and the bad, unfortunately.
Okay, very quickly, I just have the next item is the preschool update. Everybody has that in their packet. I'm just gonna quickly go through it. I'm not gonna read everything. I just wanna let everyone know, I didn't report out on it last month. We have 244 students attending our pre-K with 90 openings left. Last year, we had 205 at Bishop, 28 in Mahan, for a total of 233. We just moved 1 classroom from Betts to Mahan to accommodate more special education programming, so we can get students back. When all schools, we're looking to shift schools. I know Jamie's been working hard on this with the bus company, so that all elementary schools will be 8:45 to 3:35, and we'd like to see the pre-K be at the same exact time. We know that we've been hearing that from the parents, that they would like that at the same time. Norwich students will be eligible for pre-K in 24-25. They are 3 by September 1st. The district will conduct a pre-K screener during the week of Memorial Day so that we can adequately plan for the students who will be joining us in August. 4-year-olds and students with disabilities will be placed first. The application for early kindergarten entry closed on April 12th. Families who wish to have their child start kindergarten, even though they are not 5 by September 1st, will be contacted with next steps later this week. Processes have been streamlined between the pre-K program and the business office, so families who are experiencing financial hardship can work with us to create a payment plan that works for their family without disrupting their child's education. As part of the NIAC accreditation extension, each pre-K school environment has been rated by a state contractor to determine the adequacy of our classrooms. And a preliminary review of the ratings indicate a need for improved gross motor play areas, improved classroom schedules, and increased variety of classroom materials. More ratings will be completed over the coming weeks. And then there's a list of pre-K that implement the following high leverage instructional practices. Just to name a couple, play planning to support the developmental of executive functioning, and strategic classroom scheduling to support all of the above using a play-based model.
And Susan, I believe on the exceptions to the kindergarten, under state law, you have to be 5 by September 1st, but they are allowing exceptions, but the student has to turn 5, I believe, by the end of October, is it?
No, just by the end of December, so.
Oh, by the end of December,
So-
okay,
Yep, so there'll be a screener for that, and we'll be contacting families.
okay.
And then the last thing, I'm sorry.
That's all right. Just out of curiosity, how many, as of April 12th, how many registered for the early period?
Oh, I don't know that, I'll
No,
find
I'm
that
just
out.
curious, you know. as
Susan, I can tell you it's 31.
31.
Oh,
31.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, and then finally, we have our last community partner meet and greet held. It's going really well. This will be our 3rd one. It's on March 25th. I'm sorry, that was the last one we had was March 25th. We have another one coming up as well, but on March 25th, we had our NPS registration, our extended learning, NPS family resource, our school-based health centers, Madonna Place, Norwich Youth Family School Readiness, TDCCA, moving into Greatness Step Club, Memorial and Veterans School that was discussed earlier. And we will be having another one, I'll announce it's going to be towards the end of May, that we'll have our next community meet and greet. And that concludes my report.
All right, well, Jamie stepped out, so we'll go to Lisa.
I'm up, okay,
Yeah.
all right. Would you like to handle the IDEA grant separately? Is that on the agenda in new business?
Sure, yeah.
Okay, all right. So for my report, typically I have our monthly out-of-district placement report, and our placements are still between that, they haven't fluctuated too much, but under 130 placements. I wanted to share with you and included in the report documents that we had a wonderful visit with the Bureau of Special Education. There was new legislation this July that encouraged them to do site visits for districts, and we were one of the 8 done this spring. So we hosted them in district. They also visited NFA. They were visiting in classrooms. They did interviews and observed students. They interviewed special educators, related service providers, paraprofessionals, families. And it was a wonderful experience for us as well to kind of go through some oversight and supervision. And we're looking forward to a report that will be provided sometime within 60 days out of the visit, which was on March 21st. So we were very pleased with that. We had a really nice transition support transition night, and some of you attended. We didn't have a lot of family attendance, but that's in keeping with what we previously had. But I wanted to bring your attention to a transition support activities grant that we will be receiving in the amount of $15,000, and we're ordering really comprehensive and high quality curriculum for our students 18 to 22. We're really excited about that. I did put in a picture of the Daily Drip, which is really I'm a big fan of, that our students are working on developing. Next year, we are going to be, and I understand that out-of-district placements are always a hot topic, and of course, we want to bring our students back, space being a major consideration. But we do have some students that would be transitioning from NFA into a transition program that have more significant needs, and to be creative instead of outplacing them, which may have happened previously. We're doing a step into transition classroom. So we're really excited about the opportunity that that's going to provide us and our students to do some different work with students to get them almost ready to do some additional employment. As you know, our students work at the casinos and in various community resources. So we're really hopeful in being creative in that way. We'll save some monies and keep our students in Norwich where we want them to be. And I did in the report indicate some of the curricula that we're hoping to explore, and lots of really wonderful things from the Council of Exceptional Children. And I did have they've redone their Work Ready and Community Access Board. Some of you did get a chance to see that. They're doing some amazing work at the Transition Academy, and I can't thank them enough. As Mr. Kulos had mentioned, we do have an Autism Wellness Fair coming up, a big event in Norwich, in the 7th annual. We have many community organizations attending, and it's a very well-attended event. And this is Autism Acceptance Month in April. And of course, that is our culminating event. We do many things in the district. And then I also, and I always forget, Laura Dietrich, and I don't ever mean to, but she does provide every month a school health report, and the nurses, as you know, and we talked a little bit about, are very busy. And so she does highlight some of the information that they're involved in and the different tasks and activities. And I did include the Department of Ed's presentation that explains what the site visit is and how we were randomly selected eight districts this spring. So I look forward to talking to you a little bit more about that when that report comes in. I'm happy to answer any questions.
You can mention increasing in funding?
Well, I wish that would be the case, right? And as we know, we've never,
Hopefully.
I know, we are getting a little bit more funding, a little bump in the IDEA grant. You'll see in that piece of the report, which is attached as the same document. However, it's not obviously really a drip in the pan.
The open house for Transition Academy was a great event. And I learned one thing, that we accept tuition students into that program.
Yes, yes, we do. And so I believe at this point, we have 2 slated for next year. And that is another area to think about and to be creative around. So we will be doing some more outreach. The Transition Academy will be at the Autism Wellness Fair. They have, hopefully it's done in time, a big banner, and we're trying to do it up a little bit more for them and advertise and get folks involved. And those are areas that we've been talking about, Susan, Jamie, Bob, and I. We need to do that.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Okay, and then we had the reports from Assistant Superintendent Jamie. She gave an update from Adult Ed, multi-language learning, and the statistics for the math, science, ELS scores. Well, I don't know if there's anything you want to touch on that, Susan, or not.
So I think,
Self-explanatory. So just read those over. And if you have any questions, hold those for her or contact her by email. And Bob gave his reports, facilities, technology, the athletic director. We had a lovely presentation from him, the transportation and safety, budget transfers, and then his budget forecasts. Yeah.
I don't know if Susan can answer this, but we were starting to address the issue regarding many complaints about the bus driving. Have you heard any feedback at all from Maria regarding that at all?
so I think the last one was where I think Heather let us know that there was a bus that went through, didn't come to a complete stop, and Maria sent an email back that she took care of it. They located the bus driver. The bus driver has to go through training and will not be allowed to drive again until they complete other training.
Sounds like they all moved down from the numerous complaints that we did, 'cause that was
It's
one
not
of
just the bus drivers, it's the people driving around in the regular cars.
Oh,
They're
that
just
too,
as
that
guilty as
too.
the bus drivers.
But as I say, I reported to myself in the last 6 weeks that it had nothing to do with anybody else. It was them going through lights.
I constantly see the cars just driving right through the stop
Oh,
sign
that
when they
too.
have, I'm like, my God, no wonder why kids aren't allowed to cross the street anymore, because they can't stop.
We've had so many incidents with buses being hit and
Mhm.
cars passing stopped buses. Absolutely ridiculous this year. People have just forgotten their driving rules.
Everyone's just too much in a rush.
Susan, question on adult ed or teaching of English. Is there still a waiting list for? There's still waiting. There's an opportunity to pull some other groups together. Literacy volunteer group towards libraries going through some major changes. Madonna Place also teaches English as a teaches English to folks. So I think it might be incumbent upon us to look at putting some people together at a table instead of everybody doing their own thing, pulling people together and say, what are we doing and how are we doing it? Because there's a need everywhere. Okay?
We'll get to that.
Yeah, we'll talk about that afterwards. I think that would be.
And maybe the lead people too downtown,
Yep.
they probably do English classes too.
Instead of everyone trying to do their own thing.
That sounds good.
When you first mentioned it though, what did you say about the ESL, that they're full? Is that what you were saying? I don't know.
There's a waiting list for
There's a
it,
waiting
yes.
adult ed. Right,
Adult
that's
ed.
what I mean.
Yeah.
So there is a waiting list as of now. Do you know?
We've added more programs.
Right.
So, we talked about this at the beginning of the year, and
Yeah.
we've been working with adult ed since then to try to get some more teachers. One of the problems too is that we don't have enough certified teachers to teach.
I know.
That's
always
an
an
issue,
issue.
so I think it's a good idea, what John said, that we need to get our heads together and try to figure out a way, because we want to make sure that anyone that
Yeah, like you said, bring all these services together, work together. Thank you.
Okay, that's it for the reports. On to new business, 8.1, discussion of possible action regarding non-renewal of certified staff. John, you have a motion?
I do have a motion. Move that the contract of employment of the following individuals not be renewed for the following year upon its expiration at the end of the 23-24 school year due to budgetary reasons. And that the acting superintendent of schools is directed to advise such staff in writing of this action.
And yes, you get to read the names too.
I do.
Okay.
Yes. And forgive me if I mispronounce any names. Alan Altman, Lauren Walassi, Joseph Banis, Jillian Bellew, Joanne Bell, Elizabeth Bellavance, Gabrielle Belisucchio, Kimberly Burkett, Ashley Brown, Laura Buden, Kim Bysensky, Colleen Callaghan, Claire Concanon, Karina Dolly, Michael Flaherty, Paula Fusco.
Mark, is there something I can say?
We're still in the motion section right now, Chris. Well, what do you wish to say?
Go ahead, Chris.
Go ahead, Chris.
All right, I'm not Chris, but I will continue. Eleni Galanos, Diane Grimison, James Harris, Jennifer Heath, Lindsay Johnson, Katrina Canal, Cassidy Corba, Julie Lepore, Samuel Marcinetti, Kelonke Masaradas, Andrew Maderos, Jan Meyer, Caitlin McCarthy, Sally Miller, Kirk Murad, Ashlyn Murphy, Connor O'Brien, Brian Oliveira, Kevin Ganaban, Suzanne Parker Hall, Melissa Rosa, Catherine Russo, Ray Slattery, Sherry Tanner, Paul Tarr, Graham Thompson, Lucy Trost, Christy Vincent.
And could I have a second on that motion?
Rick Perry, I'll second.
Okay. All right, and Chris, open for discussion now. Did you have a comment? Chris, are you still with us?
I had.
Chris, you might have to put the volume down on the Facebook because we can hear John's.
You're probably, there's a lag on YouTube. That's probably, if you're watching YouTube at the time.
You can still hear John.
Okay, thank you. It's not.
Chris, try again.
There's about a 7 or 8 second lag between YouTube and the call.
If you're trying to speak, your phone is probably muted.
You know what happens to me in the Zoom meetings.
Yes, I am. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes. All right, comment, Chris.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
I think she's trying to sync herself with YouTube.
Yeah.
She doesn't realize that there's a lag.
How you doing?
I was just gonna say something about the fee split. Is it typical for most teachers to get something like that? Being a teacher that is, when I first started teaching, this is something that happens before the budget is done. This is a legal thing that has to happen. It does sound like we just read along some good names, but this is typical procedure when it is, when we don't have the budget and we have shortfall.
Right, and then I was just gonna make a comment too, that we have to do this and then we announce our opening and these teachers can, the staff that was just announced can reapply for open positions.
Yeah.
Thanks for that
I just wanted
explanation.
the public, people to understand that this is typical, not just here, this is just procedural for teachers to be known.
Right, so it happens statewide, it's a budgetary thing, because you have to, by contract and state law, have to give the advance notice.
Yeah, I just wanted to say as a teacher, this is part of the deal before you're a tenured teacher, that you always know that this is coming in the spring.
Right, and then there are also possible positions with non-certified staff too that, but we're not making those announcements because we don't know what our, what the budget's gonna be at this point, so.
Perfect.
I don't think we have a second yet.
We do. Yeah, Greg seconded, yeah. Okay, any further comment on this?
I think the question that I have is, have the teachers been informed of this position?
Absolutely. So they were informed verbally, then they had a letter, and
Okay.
then they'll get another letter tomorrow once you vote.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, so we have to vote on this list and then they'll all get a letter and then they can reapply. You'll be posting the vacancies.
Tomorrow morning, so first,
Tomorrow
all
morning.
the tenured teachers will know their assignments, and then right away, right after that, all the vacancies will be sent out for them to apply with directions and who to contact if they need help. So it's all set to go out tomorrow.
Okay. But there are less vacancies than the announced list. So a certain amount of our teachers will be let go.
So if you want to stay with Norwich Public Schools, hurry up and reapply.
Right. Okay. Any further comments? No? If not, we'll open it up for voting. Chris?
Yes.
Okay.
Two yeses.
Two yeses, yeah. Chris D.
Sorry. Yes.
Okay, Greg?
Yes.
Carleen?
Yes.
I'm also a yes. Kevin?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
Heather?
Yes.
And Ellen?
Yes.
It is unanimous, okay. Second order of business, discussion and possible action regarding the IDEA grant. You want to give a brief explanation on that, Lisa?
Absolutely. So attached to my report, there is additional information on the submission of IDEA 611 and 619, which is our entitlement grant program under the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act. And so you will see that section 611 is specific to students ages 3 to 21. And our 619 is for students with disabilities ages 3 through 5. These are 2-year grant periods, which is due in May. So we're busy working on that. And you can see the preliminary funding amount that's listed. We are up a little bit, projected to be up a little bit for this grant period in both sections. It's important to remember that we cannot supplant It's to supplement state and local funding. We know federal funding has never been fully funded. And then on the second page is the proportionate share for our parentally placed students in private schools. And I just met with that whole group of folks today to talk through the bit of monies that they receive. And oftentimes it's for interventionists and to assist in programming and necessary materials and curriculum. I'm happy to answer any questions specific to the grant. It is something, it's something that,
So hold on one second. Matt, are you able to mute that?
No, she's gonna
She
have
has,
to mute it.
she can hear,
She's gotta mute
we have to,
it.
she has to mute.
On her
mute
phone.
herself until she needs to.
She's muted, she's muted.
Yeah, okay.
So this is really a formality for you to approve. However, it's important to realize the funding stream that comes. And we do anticipate, of course, through our maintenance of effort to continue to receive this funding, albeit not enough, as it never is, but we are very creative with the way we apply these grant funds. And I'm happy to answer any questions you may have or.
Okay, could we have a motion on the action? Just click on it and the motion is written there. Ella?
I make a motion for the Board of Education to approve the submission of idea 611 and 619 for the 2024-2026 entitlement grant programs under the Individuals with Disabilities Education Improvement Act.
Kevin say Todd will second that motion.
Okay, we have a first by Ella, second by Kevin. Any further discussion on this? So Lisa, this is a 2-year grant.
Yes. Yes, and they're always overlapping.
All right. Is this money that we have to share too with among schools outside of NPS?
Yes, there's a proportionate share, albeit very small.
Right.
But it is on the second page. You can see that amount. It's in the 45,000 general ballpark this year because we're up several students.
Okay.
Approximately, I think 11 students that were up, so that
And
did
we get a
increase.
small fee for the administration of this or?
So, no.
No, it's
So
just, it
it's-
has to be.
It has to be dispersed, and that's one of the things about this grant. We have to maintain the effort and make sure it's expended in a timely way.
All right. Okay, hearing no further discussion, Chris Milton.
Yes.
Okay. Christie,
Yes.
Greg,
Yes.
Arlene,
Yes.
Kevin,
Yes.
John,
Yes.
Heather,
Yes.
Ella,
Yes.
and myself also, yes, it is unanimous. Item 8.3, discussion possible action regarding authorized signature change for the Connecticut State Department of Education. Who wants to, I guess it's pretty much self-explanatory in the motion.
Yeah, Bob is the first signer, but he has to have a second person if he's incapacitated. is the
Oh,
word they
okay.
use.
I'll make a motion to authorize the acting superintendent, Susan Lassard, to be designated as an authorized signer for the ED 099 agreement for child nutrition programs with the Connecticut State Department of Education.
I'll second that.
Okay, any discussion? So this is just to designate Susan as the signator while Bob is.
Bob has promised me that'll never happen.
No, that's the lie. Once you're in, they hook you in and, all right. Hearing no further discussion, voting on this, Chris Milton?
It takes a second navigating.
I'm just move on.
Yeah, all right, well, Christie,
Yes.
Greg,
Yes.
Yes.
Carly, myself, yes. Kevin,
Yes.
John,
Yes.
Heather,
Yes.
Ella,
Yes.
and Chris Milton, anytime,
Yes.
okay, very good. Okay, 8-4, so we have, first reads, 8-4, 8-5, 8-6,
8-7.
8-7 and 8-8. And so read through those in your, any particular thing you want to talk about on those, Kevin?
No, I do not.
Okay. Generally, those are just usually language, slight language changes. So we go back to unfinished business, which is 9-1, approval of policy revisions.
So
Yeah, go ahead.
I'll make a motion to approve the technical, non-substantive, and definition revisions deemed necessary to existing policies. 5131 that, .08, 5131, .08.01, 5121, and 5119. The administration should incorporate the technical changes into the current policies where appropriate, leaving unaffected language unchanged.
Okay, and these were the non-discrimination policies, I believe, which went back to the policy committee for review.
Wait, do we have a second?
Yeah, we need a second.
I'll second.
Okay. Discussion, did you want to discuss that, Heather, at all?
I'm just, okay, so I know your email that you had sent. I have, my issue that I have with
Right.
email athletes. Before I do anything, I just need to really understand, you sent that email and it made it seem like they're waiting until after the election.
Right, then there's a whole
The
set,
federal-
there's a whole set of federal guidelines coming down the pipe on transgender athletes. And I know that one of the, the college level, John, what college league,
NAIA.
NIAIA.
No, it's not the NCAA, it's NAIA, which is a national group of colleges. It's not the NCAA, it's a different organization, smaller colleges, different guidelines and scholarships, et cetera, et cetera.
So they just said that no transgender athlete can compete in women's sports because they're smaller colleges. So they put a ban on that. So, but they're acting without those federal guidelines right now. They may have to
Right,
change
they may
their
have to
rules.
change.
Right.
So cause that's just my biggest concern is that while making it equitable for everybody, it's not equitable for biological women in so
Right.
many aspects of now we no longer can feel safe in our locker room
Sure.
there's some concerns about that.
Right.
And I wanna make sure that, understand that, I get, we're K through 8, so
Right.
it's a little bit different. But middle school is when we prep them for their competitive way in high school, and it's good to get them in the habit.
Right, well, that's why I
Making them feel
had
safe.
Lou Allen come tonight and give his presentation. Most of our sports teams, other than basketball, are co-ed anyway.
Right.
You
So
know,
I just wanna make sure, because it's just concerning with that the way things keep getting changed with no real, I feel, no actual consideration of everybody,
Right.
we can't make it equal for everybody while diminishing another group of people. That's not equity
right,
at all. That's the exact opposite of equity.
Right, well, that's hopefully what the feds are gonna address, you know, in the sports area.
Right.
And that was your main concern, was that-
Yes, I have no problem any other way, we should.
Right, and that's why these policies were particularly silent concerning sports, because they knew a whole another set of regulations is coming down the pipe.
And my concern about that is that we had extracurricular activity. So how is extracurricular activities, and it says including athletics, the board's prohibition of discrimination or harassment in its educational programs or activities expressly extends to academic, non-academic, and extracurricular activities, including athletics.
Yeah, this is prohibiting discrimination and harassment.
Right.
Which we should do.
Yes.
But they had identified.
But at what point
Previously,
is
they had said.
they're being
that had said
discriminated
gender
against,
identity.
discriminating against with?
This isn't about participation in sports, it's about the district is officially saying we're not going to allow discrimination and harassment of people regardless of gender, regardless of sexual identity or any of those things, which we should do.
Well, right, well, no one should harass anyone, that's just
Correct.
common sense,
That's what this is saying.
but
Still
We gotta
says, sounds
separate.
like it's.
But having a female athlete who is upset doesn't mean that she is being discriminatory or anything like that. Like, I feel like you're trying to make it feel like I'm being discriminatory. I'm not. I'm just trying to make sure that we're protecting everybody at the same time, which is why I asked my questions that I asked. And the reason why we were afraid to put it in there, like, I would love to add a protected class of, hey, how about we add to protect our own little, right now, biological female athletes are protected as they should be, because we've worked so hard to get where we're at. It feels like we're going backwards.
There are laws and rules that do that, and this does not preclude or change any of those.
I'm still not grasping.
Well, that, I don't grasp it either.
I don't know what else to tell you then.
It still sounds like that we're going to allow that.
Well, it seems like is that we just wanna make sure that if by us saying yes to this, that if something comes up later on down the road that we can't readjust, we need to make sure that we're protecting every student, no matter what they are, no matter what, anything. We need to protect everyone and in all aspects. So I'm just confused about making sure that we're doing that.
Right, well, these would be the Norwich district's policies. But we're governed by whatever organizations that we follow. So like Lou had told us, he follows the guidelines of the CIAC.
But the thing is, in the CIAC guidelines, it says boys on boys team, girls on girls
Right,
team.
girls on girls.
But they don't give any definition of what a boy.
What a boy is and what a girl is.
And then,
So-
and this is when,
Because
right,
they didn't wanna deal with it.
right.
Yeah.
So
Right, well, that's what, I just wanna
thinking-
make sure that we're not gonna be setting ourselves up for something in the end, if something was to happen in the middle schools. And I just wanna make sure,
Yeah.
sorry, I just wanna
Right,
be
and so
proactive.
we hope that when Title IX is looked at the end of this year, as Mark mentioned after the election, it'll give us a more definitive guideline of where we can look at. But for these three policies that are being proposed and to be voting on tonight is specifically have nothing to do with, that center question of the athletics. This is just purely protecting all students. And if the students violate the policy, there are consequences, just like any other students.
I know at the college and Olympic level, because the NCAA follows the Olympic rules, there's a whole set of hormone testing and everything they have to go through and certain levels. If you're above a
And
certain
trying to
level,
ban it right
you
now.
can't participate in a women's sport. So I don't think we're gonna get into that nonsense on our level,
Okay,
right?
I understand, but you have to understand where I'm coming from too.
Yeah, oh,
I have to be
absolutely.
proactive because it's been proven for the last few years, this district has, and we haven't always done the proactive thing. And I wanna make sure we're doing proactive because I'm tired of backtracking and trying to fix our mistakes. Let's catch them before we make them.
Currently, we're following all guidelines and regulations, and it's a non-discriminatory policy. I get that.
I understand, but the
And I
confusion
understand-
is by putting the extracurricular activities, it leaves it to interpretation of possibly having to put a biological male on a biological female's team. And that's where my concern is.
We're not there.
Can you explain to me how we're
We
not
have time.
there with it saying, with it adding that wording of extracurricular activities and sports? That's where I'm missing I don't know, I'm missing a screw or something, but something.
Ed though.
What
is the, what teams, from what I've heard today, is like, it's boys and girls, so it's not, we have.
It's a basketball, and that's where, you know, they use a lot.
I don't know, it says soccer, boys and girls, I thought
It
they were
still
two
could
separate.
happen, though.
They're
That's the
separate,
thing.
the only ones that
It's
are
the
co-ed are
concern- it's
cheerleading
the
and unified
concern
sport, under what I'm seeing,
You
I
don't
see
want
girls.
a trans.
And volleyball
boy
is
on a
girls,
girls'
boys
team
co-ed.
For safety reasons, that's our concern. Next year, a boy could decide that he wants to be on a girls' team. No. And that's the thing, we need to make a stand on this.
So they can't, and that has nothing to do with this policy.
But that's what I'm concerned about, Craig. What about, isn't that leaving the door open in that one sentence?
It's not.
We have to separate these three policies from the question that's being brought by tonight. So those specific questions will be dealt with down the road, but for it's just the overarching policies, right? Just like with any other policies on our Board of Education that we have currently, any students who violate those policies, there are disciplinary action. This is no different.
And by removing that extracurricular activity, like from or non-discriminatory policy, that's gonna have a larger impact. It's based on like that one point that you're talking about, because there are other protected class that we have to protect as a.
No, and I understand that, but I just feel like one class is being neglected in order to make the other ones feel equitable. And I'm sorry, I was a female athlete. I would not feel equitable if I had to worry about possibly competing against a biological male. I would not feel equitable. I would not feel like I was being treated fairly. And that's what we're ultimately supposed to do for each and every student that comes here.
Right, and so in the eyes of these policies, we have to look out for all students. Again, when we get to that question at the end of the year, we will have that conversation. But for this is to look out for all of our students that we serve and protect in our school district.
Now, for example, what if tomorrow, because track and field is just starting, what if tomorrow Louis' approach, because last time I knew, the boys and the girls run separately when my daughters ran cross country here. And what if a boy decides he wants to be in the girls' dressing room, that he's gonna?
No, dressing rooms are never included, but if a boy wanted to compete.
That's not true. If they identify as a female, they get to change in the female locker room. It's going all over the country. It's happening
That's
everywhere.
not what the case is here, and that's not what's happening. If a boy wanted to compete in the girls' races, he wouldn't be allowed to because we're following CIC guidelines. They'd still be on the same team, but they compete in the races based on their sex.
Okay, so that, to me, that you just clarified it a lot more by breaking it down exactly.
We follow the CIAC guidelines.
I understand that that was the first time you said if a boy wants to go compete against girls, that's not gonna happen. That's the first time that's all I want. That's all I want. I want
But
female athletes.
it was written, what Greg just mentioned. And
I
it was shared
understand it
all-
was written, but I wanted it to be acknowledged by him, a gym teacher. I wanted you to acknowledge and explain it to me because I'm apparently dumb to you. You think you can't explain it to me. That's what you said, you can't explain it to me enough, but I was just confused and I wanna make sure that we're being protected, everyone. And I'm feeling like I'm being attacked for asking a question.
No.
You're not. We're having a conversation.
No, I can see, I can.
It's a discussion, I'm getting, it's attacking you.
Well, I took a comment that he said offensively.
No, because like I said, the CIAC rules just say boys can't on boys' teams, girls not on girls. They didn't delve into all of this, which because they wanted to avoid, obviously, you know, but,
But then when you had said that if a boy did want, and, or whatever, that he wouldn't be in the locker room, how can you guarantee that? Because it's happening all over the country where they sign these things in,
Because the rule,
and then they can.
because the rules state that boys have to compete with boys, girls have to compete with girls. Now, boys that identify as female compete, no, those guidelines indicate that. So even if it's a boy that identifies as a female, he's still a boy and he can't run or, you know, do a sport with girls unless it's a co-ed sport.
Okay.
So that's probably the easiest way to do it. So they're not addressing the issue as to what gender they identify with. If you're a boy, then you're participating with the boys.
So what you're
and
telling
that's
me is
fine.
biological is biological.
that's the problem.
For
They should have
competing
said
against each
that.
other,
They
then I have no problem.
For that particular
And that's the problem, Alabama. I said that they left just boys
It's just
and
a little
girls and didn't
confusing.
identify boy, what's a boy, what's a girl? Because I could just see a big gray cloud.
But they didn't say boy that identifies as a girl, so they left it as boy
So we have
and
to
girl.
assume that.
That it's going to be, you know, whatever your birth gender is.
Mhm.
And the other thing that you have to also consider, you know, is that someone that identifies as transgender, regardless of what their age are, they are a protected class.
I understand that, I understand that, and they should be. But but them being a protected class, to make their rights happen, it shouldn't go at the expense of females or any other protected class, is all I'm saying. That's all I'm trying to say. Let's treat everyone equal.
Separate arrangements should be made, you know, for dressing rooms, et cetera. And our girls shouldn't be exposed to that. The girls, like Old Lyme had an incident with a track athlete last year. And the girls were huddling in a corner.
Huddling in a corner of the locker room.
And the young man who was
Protecting each other's age,
participating
that's
was.
just, I don't want anyone's daughter to feel
Yeah.
like they can't change in private.
Yeah, frightened.
I don't want anyone to
They need
ever
to be
feel that way.
protected. That's the
No
problem.
matter what
We're
their
on the
protected
protection.
class is, all protected, no human should ever feel that way.
Okay. Any further discussion on this? We're ready for a vote. Okay, any objection to voting on it as a package? All these policies together?
I object to that. The other two were the, the safe space, I'm sorry, what were the other two?
It's the computer.
The bullying and the safe
Right, I'd
climate?
rather vote on them separately.
All right.
So we're gonna have to amend.
Oh, the district's computer systems,
Well, I don't know, I don't know, I'm okay with voting for all of them.
because I think they all had the
It's basically
discriminatory
what I'm
language in
understanding
there,
is the
that's
only
why
one I have a
we.
question on. They
we
have to
grouped
wait till
them
after the
together.
election anyway to get more information and more,
I think we grouped them all together originally because they were, all had that same.
yes, they all went with that same language in it.
Which you both had objections to on the extracurricular activity and I think even it applied in the district's computer system language too.
Well, no, and that one was because we wanted TikTok to be added.
Oh, okay.
We wanted, it was missing in the student.
It was.
It wasn't in the student
Yes, it was.
form, but it
I
was in
didn't get to
the,
read the
it
revised.
was in the,
That's been amended, so now
Yeah,
it's
so
Facebook,
now it's- yeah.
Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat.
that one's all set.
Oh, Snapchat's on there too.
Yeah.
Oh, very good. Very good.
Do you still want to?
I still would rather not as a lump. I'd rather do it separately.
All right, well,
Wait, I'm sorry, Mark, because you said is the computer one and that
Yes.
one?
Yes.
So
yeah,
separately then.
so the first three, are you all right clumping together and then separate out the
Language,
computer one?
verbiage.
First three being 9-1-9-2-9-3.
2,
No, 9.
2, 3, and 4.
2, 3, and 4.
9-1 was the overarching one that included all
2,
4.
3, and 4, no, I'm not.
All right, Well, then we'll need another motion to separate them.
Right, so Christine, if you want to make the motion as,
To vote on them separately.
right, so you list what you want to vote separately and whatnot, and then we'll take the vote. And then once, however the vote goes, then we'll go back to the original motion, which is what is currently.
Right, so you make an amended motion.
Right.
So we vote on the amendment first.
That's what I do now.
Yes.
Okay, I make an amended motion that we vote on policies 9.2. You want the policy number?
Or just say item.
Item 9.2, 9.3, 9.4 separately.
No, all of it will be separate like that.
Oh, it will be separate?
All of it, because there's 4.
Okay.
So 9.2, 9.3, 9.4, and 9.5 to be voted on separately.
There we go.
Okay. Do we have a second on that?
I guess so.
Okay,
Second.
okay. All in favor on the amendment?
We should do a call because of.
Right, Chris Milton?
Yes.
Okay, so this is the vote to separate and vote on each policy separately. Just to make sure that you're in agreement with that. I believe she did say yes. Okay, Christie,
Yes.
Greg,
No.
Carlene?
Yes.
Okay, Kevin,
No.
John,
No.
Heather? This is to separate.
but why are we being so?
So we have to vote on the motion to separate them and then vote on them individually.
I don't think we should separate them. No.
Okay. Hello?
Yeah, but don't forget, Heather, this includes the computer one, which we're fine with.
I'm fine with, well, I'm understanding, to my knowledge of understanding all of them, right now, the issue I was bringing up is not an issue. It will not be an issue until after the election. And we will go back to that, so I'm okay with.
Gotcha.
Okay, and I also vote no, so the motion does not carry. The amended motion does not carry, which brings us back to the original motion. So we're voting on them as a group to approve or deny.
Correct.
Okay. Chris Milton, voting on them, all the policies together, approve or deny.
Do we have a motion for that one?
Yeah.
Okay, yes.
Motion and discussion.
Christie,
No.
Greg,
Yes.
Carlene?
Yes.
Kevin?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
Heather?
Yes.
Ella?
Yes.
And I'm also a yes. Okay, it's 8-1. Approved. Okay. Committee reports.
That was 9-1, not 8-2.
There's 9 of us.
There's 9 of us.
Oh, I'm sorry, I thought you were reading, I thought you said that.
Oh,
I'm
no,
sorry, I thought you said
not
8.1, and I was like, yo, wait.
I gotta give you the vote total.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I don't need a math specialist.
Well, we need a math specialist sitting here for the board, I guess. Well, we have a new vacancy, right? The math specialist for the board. Okay, committee reports budget expenditure, which we concluded, and that will turn into the ad hoc, which hasn't met yet. Negotiation, we're in preliminary negotiations right now with the paras. We're having a meeting, I think, this week, just on the board side. Policy committee?
Yes, the policy committee members, we met on April 1st, just to go over the 3 policies that were postponed regarding the bullying and the safe school climate plan. So those three policies, we double checked on the language and then brought it back to tonight's vote. And then the only new one we talked about was the retention and disposition of records and information. And that will be voted on for next month's meeting.
Okay. School building, they're meeting tonight. And I think last meeting was just basically, we went over,
I'll say it.
Yeah, go ahead.
I don't have anything written, but there's a separate work committee, part of the entire committee, people that are working on cutting costs. So they actually presented a very long list of where they have found places to cut. And, to try to, taking concerns of our taxpayers into account. So we found quite a few areas actually and so it was open in discussion with, the representatives from the different contractors that were there. So I found it very interesting and very informative. Just like how far to have the asphalt come up to the building because concrete is more expensive. So for example, they're going to keep concrete 50 feet to the exterior of the building. So your main walkways, which undergo a lot of use and plowing and everything else, will hold up better. You won't have to worry about, the asphalt, coming apart and everything else. So that's just an example, and they showed where the cost savings were. And even the tiling, where they cut the tiling on the walls. So they keep digging out this list, and if we had any questions, they're going to look into those again more, and then come back to us at the next meeting, which we have, like Mark said, was tonight. So, but they're really getting into the fine details now. Walkways and everything. It's very exciting. So,
and I think just by substituting mulch for
that was
rubber
one of my
pellets in the
concerns.
playgrounds
Yes.
was a
Because at the charter
$300,000
school,
savings.
Because at the charter school, I was very involved when it was opened, and the mulch underneath the play apparatus outside was supposed to be either 6 or 9 inches deep. And my concern was they were saying 3 inches? I can't even remember. No, we had wanted the rubber surface, but they did away with that to save the money. Like you said, it's thousands of dollars.
Well,
but
the substrate has to be prepared differently because
Exactly.
with rubber pellets, it has to drain away, whereas mulch, it just rots in place.
But like we said, if to keep it to that 9 inches, that's a huge cost too, because it flattens out so easily. And then you end up with kids getting injured, falling off the monkey bars, et cetera, et cetera. So I guess it was like a compromise where Matt Brown proposed in the high use areas, like with the swings, by the slides, they'll use a rubber surface underneath and put the mulch possibly on top. But so it's still in the works a little bit. But it's really interesting to see all the things.
Yeah, go ahead, Kevin.
Yes, no, I'm glad to know that this project is, going in a positive direction, and with all these ideas that's being disseminated. With all of that being said, I know that there was discussion about the total budget, making sure we stay within what the voters voted on during the referendum. So with all of these,
Well, I think we were like 20 million over budget at this point, but 17 million of that was the Greenville site. So 90% of the overage was with the Greenville site, but mainly because of the topography.
Right.
And they're not quite sure yet until they actually start the construction. To plan, once they start digging into the ledge, either digging or blasting, if the ledge is solid enough, they'll be able to use like a back wall as ledge. But if it's crumbly, then you have to, have retaining walls and whatnot. So it all depends on the site. And then there were things like wetlands areas that were not mapped on the Stanton site, because those wetlands maps haven't been updated in maybe 20 years or so. So with updated wetlands maps, and it changes the position of playgrounds and whatnot, because you can't have areas where wetlands run, or floodways in your playground, and with fencing. So you can't have fencing in a floodway. It has to be breakaway or removable. So that changes the whole game of how to prep the site.
And of course, work lost.
Right, and it costs, everything you look at is cost.
Yeah.
Okay. So the further you get into it, a lot of it is site.
So it's hard to give a definitive
Right.
answer. Okay.
I mean, design is almost done. They've got, the dimensions and pretty much, but they're, looking to save square footage, because the less square footage you build, of course, you save money there. But so they're getting down to the point where, well, if we steal 3 inches in width from a hallway, but if you've got a mile of hallways, that adds up. So,
It's amazing the things you learn, Marcus.
yeah. Okay, NFA liaison, that's me. Oh, no, where are we? Still on it, negotiation policy, school building, IDCS.
It was a short meeting in March. A number of votes and policies were passed, though. New purchasing policy, bullying prevention and intervention policy was updated. The 2024-2025 budget was approved, and the 2024-2025 calendar was approved. The healthy food certificate was approved, and there was an executive session that I did find out after the fact that the director's contract was extended for a year. There are also 4 members whose terms end this year. One of each of kind of the different groups that make up the membership of the board, 1 parent member, 1 community member, 1 teacher member, and then also a non-voting, non-certified staff member.
Okay.
Just curious, how many years is her contract annual? It's just.
Um,
The director, I don't remember.
That's a good question. I think so, but I can't, don't quote me on it. I'm not sure.
Yeah, no, I don't remember.
Okay, NFA, I attended their March meeting. Their April meeting is actually tonight. So it seems, yeah, we had 3 meetings tonight. Our board meeting, the NFA, and the school building were all meeting tonight. So NFA, they cut, I believe, 6 or 8 staff members. And then their big thing was they had some facilities issues over at Sachem campus with all of the rain. I think they had a crumbling retaining wall to the tune of, I don't know, $150,000, somewhere in that range. So they were looking for money and ways to fix that. And that was about it on that. Otis Library.
Next Friday evening, the 26th, is the 20th evening with an author, which is a major fundraiser for the Otis Library. It involves the smash hit Ghost Hunters.
Yeah, the paranormal.
Yeah, okay. You know that stuff.
I'm sorry, John, I can't quite hear you.
It's the Ghost Hunters, Steve Gonzalez, who is the author of the book, A Life with Ghosts, and he actually did a segment on the Norwich Hospital. So it'll be an interesting 20th anniversary. And also, Lottie Scott is being honored. She's been involved in all 20 Evening with the Authors as a sponsor and a patron. So in recognition, the library is naming the Lottie B. Scott Cultural Corner, and we'll be establishing the Lottie B. Scott Society as part of its annual giving program. So it's a 20th anniversary, paranormals, I don't know, and honoring Lottie B. Scott's a good thing. So that's it.
One of my girlfriends from work told me about it. That's the other reason why I know.
I'll see you there then.
And my mom happens to work at the Captain Grant's. I don't know if you guys know Captain Grant's on 2A, but that's supposedly haunted. So I don't think so. I've been there a million times.
We should bring him over to the Lafayette Street Cemetery there. There's all kinds of ghost stories surrounding that. Okay, Learn.
I was not able to attend the March meeting. I was out of town at the time, so I don't have anything besides just for reading the minutes. A couple of big highlights were the approval of the Learn budget and an update on hires and resignations. So kind of looking at the year ahead and much like we did tonight, the staffing that'll be there for the next year.
Okay, the NPSEF, we agreed to start funding for, we have, I believe, 4 or 5 years to come up with $10,000 to the Community Foundation of Southeastern Connecticut, so that we'll have funding for, in perpetuity, we'll have an actual fund which will then be getting interest on and being able to pay out grants every year, as opposed to constantly depending on the kindness of strangers to fund us. So that will be good because we'll have a permanent source of funding for the schools for various projects.
Mark, I forgot, because I had wanted to make that last meeting. When is the next meeting?
It's generally the first Tuesday of the month. Yeah, so it'll be May 2nd, 3rd, something like that this month. And we hold that at the Seacard Gallery.
What time is it at?
I think 7 o'clock. I'll have to send you the email.
Yeah, that's great news.
Yeah.
That the foundation now has a steady stream of, funding coming in, and with, being a former, the former president of the foundation, with a lot of good that the foundation does for Norwich Public Schools, this is a great plus.
Right. And actually, yeah, because the foundation helped kickstart the music program again by donating instruments several years ago. So that was, as a matter of fact, Mark Cook, who talked tonight in public comment, is the current president of the foundation.
Oh, he is.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see, and then we have the additional reports in the budget, enrollment, personnel. And any other further reports or anything anyone wants to say? No? Okay, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. You want to give
No,
a...
I just very briefly, I attended the Read Across America. It was last month, and I went to Manhattan Elementary School and I read a book to third graders. So that was a good experience.
Did they reach out to us about that?
They did.
Yes.
I was so sad.
I missed that in its entirety.
Make sure you can have more opportunities.
Oh, I know, it just frustrates me when I miss things like that. I've missed a couple of things.
And I know John and I were at the Transition Academy.
Yeah, that's what
Yeah, and they had their coffee cart there,
Yeah. That's
which
cool.
they're going to go around, I guess, once, possibly twice a week and sell coffee throughout the.
Yeah, that's great.
Lisa has a picture of it in her report.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I saw it. What was
Yeah,
it?
they had it there, so that'll
The drip. The daily
that'll
drip.
teach the students there how to, deal with
Absolutely. How they
small
interact. We had it
groups,
at Norwich, they still do, I'm sure at Norwich Tech. Their culinary program would go around. And the only thing was that they would go to the regular classrooms and ask teachers too during class. So it was a little bit of a distraction, but we loved it and people loved it in the main office and all those areas they depended on. And like you said, the kids learn those interpersonal skills, which was great. And
because-
counting money and change, as we all know, it's lacking nowadays. No, I think it's great.
Okay,
I will entertain a motion.
all right, and motion to adjourn.
Arlene.
Arlene.
Heather will second. Heather will second. Gladly.
And Heather
Who's
is
seconding that?
seconding, okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Chris?
Chris, you still with us?
I was in the support of music.
Sit back down and thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Have fun, Chris.
Thank you, Chris.